This story has been out for a few days, but it hasn't been getting much coverage in the mainstream media. I did a search in the New York Times site tonight and nothing came up. They haven't written any articles about this story. And it's just an interesting story to me, and we're going to talk about this. The basic idea of this story, which we will talk about in more detail, is that, and this is from Mediate. This is not a right-wing website, Mediate by any means. MSNBC host Joy Reid wrote numerous anti-gay articles on her old blog. I haven't seen much about this on TV news networks at all. Joy Reid hosts a show every weekend. She hosts a show Saturday and Sunday on MSNBC. They're not even allegations. She's admitted doing this. It's her blog. But this came out this past week. But she hosted her show Saturday. She hosted her show Sunday. I've heard no discipline from MSNBC on this. I haven't even heard a comment from MSNBC on this. Joy Reid issued an apology, although I have something to say about that. But we'll talk about that later. But it seems like we have a host of a major news network show demonstrably, unquestionably making insensitive comments to gay people on a blog, not from her childhood, but from the late 2000s, 2007 to 2009. And yet it's not that big of a news story, and she seems to be getting no punishment for it from MSNBC. So I find that very odd. Now you might think this doesn't deserve any punishment, but whether you do or you don't, I think to me, what really I find fascinating is that it seems like certain things, certain stories get really blown up and talked about, and the people involved in them get punished, and other stories which don't seem to me that in terms of to be that different in terms of like the level of offensiveness of the conduct. Don't get talked about much at all, and somebody gets no punishment. So we want to at least talk about this story and give you the details of it, so no one can say we didn't cover the story. And I'd love to hear your comments on the story. So during the broadcast, feel free to write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner, and let me know what you think. I'm going to read your comments on the air. I see JC made it up. JC's on the West Coast, I think. So it's only about 10:15 there. But thank you, JC, for joining. JC, it looks like you're the only moderator at this point. So it's up to you to keep things under control in the chat room. And on the website, we have Common Sense and Glenn O moderating. So let's talk about this. You might not have even heard about this story because it hasn't got that much press. So let's talk about this story. Look, it's Mediate. Mediate is not a conservative website. Mediate is a site that covers the media, and they frequently have posts that are not conservative friendly. So they are not a conservative right-wing website, but this is a story from them. December 2nd is when this came out. And the actual story, I think, started getting talked about 4 or 5 days ago. But let's just go over the Mediate article. This is a good place to start. It's a good summary of what the story's about. MSNBC host Joy Reid wrote numerous anti-gay articles on her old blog. Here's the story. Recently resurfaced internet archives show political commentator Joy Reid wrote a dozen blog posts from 2007 to 2009 that contained homophobic conspiracies and anti-gay jokes. The MSNBC weekend host ran a blog called The Reid Report, which is the same name as her now defunct cable news show, a decade ago while she wrote for the Miami Herald. At first resurfaced by Twitter user Jamie Maz. Jamie Maz on Twitter is the person who uncovered this a few days ago. Reid wrote numerous bigoted blog posts smearing, mocking, and attacking former Florida Governor Charlie Crist. These rants included calling Crist Miss Charlie and sarcastically using the tags gay politicians and not gay politicians, despite the fact that the twice married heterosexual man has never come out as gay. So we'll look at some of these posts, but in these posts, she's accusing Charlie Crist of being closeted gay. She makes jokes involving gay stereotypes. She makes blanket statements about gay men without offering any support of them. All of which, to me, can be seen as insensitive to gay people and people in general if they're offended by this kind of thing. Let's read a little more here. Joy Reid went on to Joy Reid went on to spread the crackpot conspiracy theory that Crist was actually a closeted gay man who refused to come out for fear that his sexual orientation would hurt his political career. Additionally, the AM Joy host claims Crist's marriages to women are part of this elaborate cover-up. So as we'll see in the posts, she says in these posts that Crist married a woman to like as part of as like a political act to like further his political career. And she doesn't offer support of this, she just says it. She doesn't offer evidence support of it. As bad as the conspiracy theory is in itself, Reid doesn't just suggest Crist is gay. She assumes he is gay and proceeds to attack him for it. Miss Charlie, stop pretending, brother. It's okay that you don't go for the ladies, wrote Reid in a 2007 post. In another post, Reid wrote, now that he's married to a girl, Charlie Crist is being sought out for all kinds of good stuff. The GOP are wooing Miss Charlie to run. So she keeps over and over referring to him as Miss Charlie, which to me sounds like a negative term. It's like you're making fun. First of all, she's assuming he's gay, which he's never come out as gay, and she doesn't offer, evidence in support of her theory he's gay. But also she's using this word Miss Charlie in this like demeaning way. I mean, to me, the post suggests that she's using Miss Charlie as a way to like make fun of him. But then you seem to be like making fun of somebody just because they're gay, which seems not a bit insensitive to me, at least. Let's continue here, though. One of the more disturbing examples of Reid's bigotry is her claim that Crist spent his honeymoon checking out men and dreading physical relations with his wife. I can just see poor Charlie on the honeymoon ogling the male waiters and thinking to himself, God, do I actually have to see her naked, she wrote. Now, I will say this about this article. This article says that paragraph is an example of Reid's bigotry. I don't know about that. I mean, if you read the I can just see poor Charlie on the honeymoon ogling the male waiters and thinking to himself, God, do I actually have to see her naked? I mean, I guess, what somebody could say is like, that's like a stereotypical picture. That's like a disrespectful way to portray a gay man who happens to be, for whatever reason, married to a woman or something. I don't know. That doesn't like hit me as obviously bigoted. Maybe there's a way to interpret that. I feel like there's ways to interpret that passage in ways that it's not bigoted. So I just want to be clear here. I do think the words anti-gay and bigoted have been thrown around about her blog post, but I think you have to be careful about which ones you're saying are anti-gay and which ones are not. Anyways, so I'm trying to be careful here when I talk about the post. Let's see here. The same blog post she wrote included a joke about Crist having sex with Senator John McCain of Arizona, who she claims is the reason the former Florida governor got married to another woman in the first place. Again, she claimed in her blog that he got married to a woman because it would help him become John McCain's 2008 running mate, and she didn't offer evidence to back this up. A little more of this article. I'll finish the article and then we'll get some of your comments here. These attacks on Crist led Reid to share her opinions on why gay men stay in the closet, writing, when a gay politician gets married, it usually indicates that he is highly ambitious and desires to put himself in a position to move up the power ladder. So there she's making a blanket statement about any gay politician who gets married. And she says it's usually because he wants to further his political ambition. Again, that's a blanket statement about gay male politicians, and she offers no support of that. She also makes a blanket statement about gay men in general, but I'll get to that in a little bit. These homophobic remarks, and let me say one more time, I don't know if all the remarks they say are, if the homophobic's the best word for them. Maybe insensitive to gays might be better for some of them. But anyways, let me continue. This is what Mediate is saying. These homophobic remarks and anti-gay jokes were spread throughout 12 of Reid's blog posts, in which she uses the term Miss Charlie a total of 17 times, and were all written when the pundit was in her late 30s or early 40 years, lest anyone chalk this up to youth. The Reid Report blog no longer exists, but its articles can be accessed using the internet archiving service, the Wayback Machine. Let's see here. I want to just while Reid, I'm not. I don't. The next, if you want to read the next couple paragraphs, it's a little bit tangential. Go to Mediate. The last paragraph says Mediate reached out to MSNBC for comment on these blog posts, but did not receive a response from MSNBC. And as I pointed out, Joy Reid hosted her show today and yesterday, well, Sunday and Saturday, as usual on MSNBC. I have not heard of any discipline given to Joy Reid for this from MSNBC. I haven't even heard of a comment made by MSNBC on this incident, on these blog posts. So, which, I mean, to me, a number of them seem insensitive to gays. And as we'll talk about next, Joy Reid herself apologized for these blog posts. So she admits these are her posts, and she admits that they could be offensive to gay people and other people. So she admits that. But MSNBC, no punishment, and as far as I'm aware, not even a comment on this. So I want to get... so anyways, if you have any comments on this story, we just read you the Mediate story, and next I'm going to show you Joy Reid's apology and also show you a couple of the specific parts of the blog posts that I found particularly insensitive from Joy Reid's blog that I will show you in a second. But first, I want to see if any of you have any comments on this. So if you have comments on this story, write to me at Lookner on Twitter, @Lookner. Let me know. I'll read them on the air as long as they're clean and not, super offensive or anything. So be a little careful if you can. And also, we are Right Side Broadcasting. We are viewer supported. So if you like our broadcasts and you want to support having an alternative to the mainstream media, you can donate to us and help keep the channel on the air by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat. If you're watching it live, there's a YouTube chat. Just go to the bottom and click on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. Somebody might have done that already, and I might have missed it because I was talking. Yes. Ryan Lovesey gave $2. Thank you, Ryan. Ryan said, now, Ryan, your comment was Joy Reid now chooses to live as a gay woman. I think you're making a joke because I have not heard anything, and I have not heard that. So I think you're making a joke of some sort, Ryan. But Ryan, we appreciate the donation. Thank you. Now, maybe I haven't heard this, but let me just do a quick Google search to make sure I'm not missing something. No, I haven't heard that anywhere. So, and I don't see it on Google or anything. Also, but if you're not watching this live or you just want to donate a different way, rsbn.tv/donate is the other way you can donate. rsbn.tv/donate. And I see another moderator, Lynn Jean, has joined JC in the YouTube chat. Thank you for joining us, moderators, and moderating the chat room. Okay, next I want to show you. Oh, I want to read your comments. Hold on a second, if anybody wrote in yet. Shane Flanagan says, she shouldn't really be punished. Okay, that's Shane's opinion. But if you make her a conservative or a Fox News host, this would be wall-to-wall coverage for the next week, and she'd be gone by tomorrow evening. So what, Shane? Shane, you're making a subtle distinction. I like the way there's some subtlety to your position. What you're saying is you don't think she should be punished, but what's bothering you is, so you're distinguishing between the questions of should she be punished and should she not be punished, and also is she being treated the same way other people in the media are being treated? So there's a couple different questions going on. You don't think she should be punished, but you think that and I have sympathy for this view. You're saying if a conservative host on Fox, for example, made these exact same blog posts in this exact same story was written, but not about Joy Reid, about some host on Fox News, and all the blog posts were the same. You're saying this would be wall-to-wall coverage and the person would be fired. And I certainly think, and I just think if you pay attention to the news networks and the media, I think it's very reasonable to think that if the exact same story came out about a Fox News host, we very well might have a lot more coverage of this and also a lot more outcry. Well, I think you might have more outcry for the person to get, from the left, for the person to get punished or, at least suspended or something, disciplined in some sort of way. So I understand your view there. And, but now maybe some of you don't agree with that view. Maybe some of you think, no, if it was a Fox host in the story came out, that the reaction by the media would be the same. That's fine if that's your opinion. So let me know. Write to me on Twitter, @Lookner. Let's see. JC says, thanks for your hard work, and just to let you know, these trolls ain't got no game. So JC and the moderators and Lynn Jean and Common Sense and Gleno are keeping our chat rooms tonight troll free. Thank you guys. Let's see here. I'm looking through your comments. Beth Trojanowski says, did she say Crist had an affair with McCain? Interesting. No, I think what she was saying in her blog post that I'm familiar with, and that the Mediate story talked about, is that she claimed that Charlie Crist is gay but married a woman because it could help him become John McCain's running mate. But she offered no support, evidential support of that theory. But she said it in her blog. Cutter Wayne Leaf says, using Miss does not make sense for a gay person. The only reason I could see using Miss for a guy is if the guy identifies as female. But I'm guessing, so you're saying in theory it doesn't make sense. I think she thought it was kind of like a way to make fun of him. That's my guess. Let's see. Mario Pereira says, lots of men marry women to hide the fact that they are homosexual or bisexual. It is a sad reality and the result of an intolerant society. In the end, no one is happy, not the men and not their wives. But in the end, it really is no one's business. And now, Mario, your view is that that there are men, you think lots of men that marry women to hide some part of their sexual orientation. I will point out, though, that, that's certainly something that I think there are people out there with that view, and but what I want, and that is not an unpopular view the view just gave, but the thing is, that's what makes it kind of extra odd that Joy Reid offers these theories in her article about why gay men get married. So. I mean, and again, look at what she said. We talked about this earlier. She said, when a gay politician gets married, it usually indicates that he's highly ambitious and desires to put himself in a position to move up the power ladder. So when she says that, she's just saying, well, most gay male politicians who get married, they do it to further their career in politics. And there are definitely other reasons a gay male politician might get married to a woman. And she offers no support for this sweeping claim about gay male politicians. Is she a sociologist? Has she done research on this? So, and I'll show you another quote later she makes. Maybe I'll show it to you right now because it's relevant to what we're discussing. Here's another thing that I saw that I posted about. Here it is. I posted in this blog post, Joy Reid makes a sweeping claim about all gay men who marry women without providing any support for her claim. And look at what she says here. She says, in one of the blog posts, she says, when gay men get married to women, it's usually an indication that they are looking for something personal, emotional, or professional that society does not readily offer to openly homosexual men. It's a blanket statement about why most gay men who get married. She's saying that they get married because of some deficiency in what society offers homosexual men. And there's no evidential support she gives of this theory. And it's why is she making, to me, if she's going to make this sweeping statement about gay men who get married to women, and she doesn't have any evidence to back it up, well, then at a certain point you have to think, well, she's just going off of what her stereotype or what her unfounded, unsupported just assumptions or intuitions about gay men are. So to me, I think when I see this kind of post as insensitive to gay men, and I see it as sort of insensitive in general, because when you make a statement about a racial or an ethnic group and there's no evidence to back it up, you're just, that's basically what stereotyping is. That's what prejudice is when you just judge a group without actually doing research and having factual evidence to back it up and having, solid support. And here she's just making this blanket claim about gay men who get married to women I don't see any support she offers for it anywhere. She just says it. And there's not even acknowledgement that this might be a controversial thing to claim. So that's the kind of statement I think is quite insensitive, when you're just making a big general statement about a group of people just based on their sexual orientation without offering any support of it. Okay, let me get back to more of your comments. Let's see. Now, CAW says he or she says Joy Reid wrote more than anti-gay blog posts on her blog. She wrote about Hillary being a racist when she was running against Obama. It is archived in the Wayback Machine. My question is, how can she apologize for something she believes? Now, I'm not saying this didn't happen. I'm just saying I personally have not read that part of her blog. So if you want to send me a link, like a specific screenshot of it, feel free, CAW. But that's what CAW says he or she has seen in the Joy Reid blog posts. Get to some more of your messages. I Stand With Trump says, Steve, it certainly sounds like Joy Reid is acting like Hedda Hopper decades ago when she went after Liberace. Hope you got the link I shared to you earlier about what YouTube is doing to people's channels. Great job, Steve. Thank you for writing in. I Stand With Trump. Lily Hager says, everyone expects President Trump to be punished for his comments to Billy Bush a million years ago, but this woman gets no backlash. Stretch Armstrong writes, not at all trying to be rude or snarky, but what is your sexual orientation? That's a personal question. I'm not answering that on the air. Then that's not really relevant to the broadcast. Beth Trojanowski says, maybe President Trump will tweet it, haha. And, I wonder, I could see President Trump tweeting out something about this story, because she is an MSNBC host. Cutter Wayne Leaf says, what triggered her reason for blogging about this guy back then? Well, she says in her apology, which we'll get to in a second, that she was not a fan of his anti-gay policies. Like, for example, I think he supported a same-sex marriage ban when he was governor, and she thought he was being hypocritical. That's what she says in her apology. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see here. Reagan Better says, I'd rather see Joy Reid. I think you're saying I'd rather see. It says I'd rather see. I think you mean, Reagan Better, I'd rather see Joy Reid against gays than for. Okay, let's get to Joy Reid's apology. I want to talk about that the apology she posted. Oh, I want to talk about one more of her posts on the blog, which I thought was one of the more insensitive ones. And this is another one that I actually posted on my Twitter. Hang on one second. Let me pull this up here. Let me pull the quote up. So I posted about this, but I said, so this is a post where Joy Reid says Charlie Crist likes flamingo-shaped napkins because he's gay. And if you look at the quote from the blog, it says, McCain's just a senator, but if John McCain were to get into the White House, Miss Charlie not only would refrain from jumping after McCain, he'd immediately start planning the state funeral down to the last flamingo-shaped napkin and get his decorator to the West Wing faster than you can say George Takei. So it sounds there like she's saying that because Charlie Crist is gay, he likes flamingo-shaped napkins and also has a decorator, which just seem like two stereotypes about gay men. And so this to me is like, this is where you get into like gay jokes based on gay stereotypes, which I think a lot of people are offended by and certainly would be insensitive to make. But to me, this is a clear case of somebody using gay stereotypes to make jokes about somebody they think is gay. So anyways, all right, let's talk about, all right, now that we've talked about some of what she said, though, I want to show you Joy Reid's apology that she came out with today. And again, MSNBC has, to my knowledge, not even made a comment about the story. Never mind discipline her at all. Okay, let me pull up the apology here. Here we go. It's on Joy Reid's Facebook page. Now, the thing I noticed about this apology when I was looking over it she's advertising her book about the speeches of Barack Obama on her Facebook page. The thing I noticed about her apology is that she never apologizes for making jokes based on gay stereotypes. She never admits or apologizes for that. She also never apologizes for making blanket sweeping general statements about gay men that are completely unsubstantiated. She doesn't apologize for that either. So let's look over this. She says, this is her statement today that she made today, or I guess yesterday. Making a few things plain, my full statement is excerpted by NBC Out. This note is my apology to all those who are disappointed by the content of blogs I wrote a decade ago, for which my choice of words and tone have legitimately been criticized. So she's admitting that she made those blog posts. As a writer, I pride myself on a facility with language, an economy of words, or at least some wisdom in the selection. However, that clearly has not always been the case. In 2007, I was a morning talk show host, talk radio host and blogger, writing about Florida politics, a blog I maintained until 2011. Among the frequent subjects of my post was then Governor Charlie Crist, at the time a conservative Republican whose positions on issues like gay marriage and adoption by same-sex couples in Florida shared headlines with widely rumored reports that he was hiding his sexual orientation. Now, Mediate called that story a conspiracy theory, so I think she should at least say a little more about widely rumored. It seems here she's trying to defend her saying he was gay by saying there were wide rumors about it. Now, if there were that's a little weird to me, because it's like, well, just because there's rumors doesn't mean that you should be saying, if you're a professional journalist on your blog, that somebody is gay, if you hear some rumors about it. Also, who were the rumors from? Were these reputable sources the rumors were from? And so anyways, it seems like she's trying to defend her calling him gay by saying they were widely rumored, why there were a lot of rumors around. That's kind of a dubious defense to me. Anyways, let's continue. She says, those reports were the subject of lots of scrutiny by LGBTQ bloggers, writers, and journalists, conservative blogs, a controversial documentary film called Outrage, and even the comedic writers at South Park. But I'm confused. Is she saying that, like, these people fact-checked those rumors? And if so, why should, if that's what she's saying, why is she mentioning the comedic writers at South Park? Anyways, but it was my own attempt at challenging Crist on my blog that has now raised the issue of not just my choice of words, but what was and is in my heart. Let me be clear, at no time have I intentionally sought to demean or harm the LGBT community, which includes people whom I deeply love. My goal in my ham-handed way was to call out potential hypocrisy. Nonetheless, as someone who is not a member of the LGBT community, I regret the way I addressed the complex issue of the closet and speculation on the closet and speculation on a person's sexual orientation with a mocking tone and sarcasm. It was insensitive, tone deaf, and dumb. There's no excusing it. Not based on the taste-skewing mores of talk radio or the then blogosphere, and not based on my intentions. So, in addition to friends and coworkers and viewers, I deeply apologize to Congressman Crist, who is the target of my thoughtlessness. My critique of anti-LGBT positions he once held has since abandoned, was legitimate in my view, but my means of critiquing were not. So she's characterizing her blog posts as like, well, I was trying to criticize Governor Crist's positions, and I just did it in an insensitive way, which it's not really admitting what she, the things that people really have problems with. Like, she's not saying, look, I made anti-gay jokes and I made sweeping general claims about gay men that were based on no evidence at all. She's not saying that. She's like, basically, she keeps saying like, well, I was trying to do this thing, which she seems to be defending. Like, I was trying to do this like sort of a noble thing of going after General Charlie Crist for his positions, but I was expressing it in not great language, not appropriate language. That's not the same thing as just saying, look, I made these blog posts. They had gay jokes in them, and they had these sweeping statements about gay men that I couldn't defend at all, and I have no evidence for. And I'm just sorry for that. She could have just said that, but this apology is like all about like, I was trying to do this thing and I did it in inappropriate language. Anyways, that's how I see it. Maybe you see it differently. In the years since I went from blogger to opinion journalist, I have also learned through brilliant friends and allies in the LGBT activist community. She keeps mentioning in this apology that she has friends in the LGBT community. I don't know if that's supposed to make it less harsh what she did. She says, I've learned how to better frame my critiques of those who challenge people's right to love who they want, marry them, and walk in the world as a fully free people. So here again, this is supposed to be an apology, but in the apology, she's spending a lot of time criticizing people who don't share her views on LGBT people, which I don't see that's necessarily, that has to be part of the apology, and why it serves the apology to have that extra stuff in there. Again, she is saying how to better frame my critiques. So she keeps saying over and over again that where she went wrong is she was doing something that was fine, but she sort of like said it the wrong way. And it's not really, it's an apology which doesn't really get to the heart of some of the issues with her blog posts that a lot of people have, which is that they have gay jokes in them, and they have sweeping statements about gay people that seem to be based on nothing except for stereotypes. Rereading those old blog posts, she finishes up, I am disappointed in myself. I apologize to those who are disappointed in me. Life can be humbling, it often is. But I hope that you know where my heart is, and that I will always strive to use my words for good. I know better and I will do better, Joy Reid. So, a number of people who've apologized for various things, Harvey Weinstein and other people, Kevin Spacey, there have been critiques of their apologies, and they saying things like, well, this feels like sort of a non-apology apology. And I think a similar criticism could be made of this too, where it's like, she could have just come out and said, I made these blog posts, they were insensitive to gay people, I put gay jokes in there and gay stereotypes in there, I shouldn't have done it, I'm really sorry. That's all you got to say. But there's all this extra stuff. I got gay friends, gay people love me, I've learned from gay people, I was trying to oppose these terrible policies when I did it, and it's all this stuff. The blog posts, she says at the beginning, were a decade ago, blogs I wrote a decade ago, and it just to me seems like language which is supposed to like make it so that these are extenuating circumstances and make it seem less bad what she did, at least to me, and not really admitting fully what she did. That's just my take on it. So maybe you feel differently, but kind of that apology to me, I mean, when any of these people apologize, to me, when you apologize for something, just apologize for what you did, admit it, and that's it, and don't bring in lots of extra stuff. But that's just me. All right. Oh, all right. So I'm going to get to some more of your comments. If you have comments on this Joy Reid story, what do you think about it? Maybe you disagree with some things I've said. That's fine. I want to hear from you. Do you think she should have been punished by MSNBC? Do you think she should be suspended? Do you think they shouldn't have to suspend her or anything? Do you think this story is getting the same amount of coverage it would get if somebody else, not Joy Reid, maybe a conservative, or somebody else you're thinking of, had the same story written about them? What do you think? Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. I also want to give credit to the person on Twitter who first came out with this story. It's somebody named Jamie M at Jamie_Maz. He on November 30th, I believe, was the first one who found these posts in the old archives of Joy Reid's blog, and he posted about them. So you can go to at Jamie_Maz if you want to read his original posts about these. Thanks again to the moderators for staying up late with us tonight. Hey, Jason Thornton's in the chat room. I knew he would be because it's a late night live stream. Let's see here. So we're going to get some more of your comments now. Also, hang on one second. Also, once again, we are viewer supported. If you like our coverage, please consider donating to Right Side Broadcasting. You guys keep us on the air. You can donate by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat and clicking on the $sign, or going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And just because I know some of you will be like watching the Trump rallies when we carry them, if you haven't heard, President Trump is doing a rally this Friday in Pensacola, Florida, Friday night, 7 p.m. We will be there. I will be there. Liz Willis will be there. Maggie Howell will be there. We will be doing our full coverage of the rally. So join us for that. And if you want to help us cover that, we just got our Airbnb today. So it costs us money to go and cover this stuff. So if you want to donate this week, that'll certainly help us, and we'll probably end up putting it toward the rally, actually, because that's what we need the money for right now, is to go cover the rally. So thank you in advance for any donations you give on that. And we'll do the plan is to do the usual Thursday night live stream the night before the rally when we get to Pensacola, and Friday night after the rally, we will do another live stream late night where we wrap up and read your comments and everything like that. So we got those 2 live streams in addition to our full day coverage on Friday of the rally. Let's see. Stephen KS writes in, Crist needs to harden the F up, period. Why are we wasting time on this crap? Now, it sounds like, I think you might be saying something like, Crist is the one who's complaining about Joy Reid's post. I have not heard Charlie Crist say anything about Joy Reid's post. He certainly didn't break the story about Joy Reid's post. So this story didn't come out because Charlie Crist was complaining about it. A person on the internet who I just mentioned talked about these old blog posts, and then media outlets like Mediate picked up the story. Trump Pence's America says, hashtag hypocrite Joy Reid put her foot in her mouth. LOL, too funny. Let's see. What is this post here? This Stink News sent me a post from Joy Reid's blog. Let me see. I'll show it to you. I believe it's from Joy Reid's blog. It's the same font and everything. And the part, I guess, that Stink News wanted me to read is this part in the middle that says, throw in the red staters who are pledging to starve the NRSE of cash as payback for not towing the Club for Growth line. And because of their love and support for Hispanics, stop that laughing. You've got yourself a veritable teabag party of right-wing fury. Oh my God, wait till Cornyn finds out the guy is gay. God, I love politics. I'm not sure. I have to read that whole post again to know exactly what she's getting at there. But that's one of our viewers, Stink News, wanted me to show that one. Feel free to clarify, Stink News, why you wanted me to show that. Let's see. James Mins writes in, while I have zero sympathy for this disgusting lady or her opinions, I do have a concern about how the whole world is spinning around who said what in the past. Abuse is one thing, but opinions are another. Let he who is without sin cast stones. So, James, I understand your point, and I think there's definitely a reasonable position to be had where somebody says, look, everybody's getting... we uncover things from people's past and we rush to judge them and suspend them and punish them or whatever. Maybe we should be a little bit more lenient on this stuff in the past. And I understand that. I guess when I talk about Joy Reid not being suspended by MSNBC or disciplined or anything like that, I'm not making a statement about whether she should or she shouldn't be just in general. What I'm saying is it's interesting to me that she's not suspended or disciplined when we are in an era recently where people with things that come up who do offensive things in their past and it gets revealed tend to get suspended and disciplined. So my surprise here is that we're not even hearing a statement from MSNBC at this time when we've seen a lot of people suspended. I mean, mostly it was a lot of sexual misconduct stuff, but there seems to be a trend of if offensive stuff comes up from somebody's past, very quick networks usually to take action on that, at least say a statement about it, and often discipline the person. And we've seen none of that with Joy Reid. So, but I appreciate your view, and you're saying you think that in general maybe these judgments and punishments about people's things they did in their past are a little too harsh or too quick sometimes. Now, we can get into specific people and all that stuff, and all these allegations from people the last few weeks are not the same kind of allegations, but I understand your view. So I think I certainly think that's a plausible view somebody might have. Let's see here. Stretch Armstrong says 3,650 days ago is a long time ago. I think she was trying to say that being gay, at least at that time, was not conducive with being elected to political office in most places. So, Stretch, I'll say, I do, look, part of what she was saying was that, well, under an assumption in what she was saying was that being gay made it harder to be elected in a lot of places. Or in Florida, at least, she was saying that. But I think she was saying a lot of places, actually. That's assumed in what she writes. But that's not really what she said. I mean, and that was like an assumption she made. But at the same time, she did, along with that, make gay jokes. She did, along with that, make several sweeping statements about gay men. So if her blog post was just, as you said, the view that back then it made it harder to get elected in certain places if you were a gay man. If that's all she said in her blog, I don't think people would have had a problem with that. I think what people have a problem with are some of the other things she said in her blog, which were insensitive to gay people, at least in a lot of people's mind. By the way, we got a couple donations I want to talk about, but thank you for writing in, Stretch. Zune gave €2. He says, greetings from Sweden. Hi, Zune. I guess in Sweden it's probably midday there or something. Let me see what time it is there. Sweden time. It's 7:53 a.m. Oh, it's in the morning. Well, good morning, Zune. But thank you for your donation. Really appreciate it. We got a donation from Elizabeth Luker, gave $20. Thank you, Elizabeth. Appreciate that. And Menk de Merck Bravo 4 gave $2. Thank you, Menk de Merck Bravo 4. Very nice of all of you. Thank you. Ooh, did I miss a donation here? I might have missed another one. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any. I think I got them all. It bothers me like crazy if I miss a donation. Lily Hager says, so where is the apology to Chris calling him gay? Were there pictures or any kind of proof that he was with a man? Or again, just her stereotypes? This is an excellent question, Lily. In Joy Reid's apology, there is no apology to Charlie Crist for calling him gay when he has not come out as gay. There's no apology to Charlie Crist in here that I see specifically. We read through the whole thing. Good question, Lily. Wow. Miss Rob Mob gave $12. Says, looking forward to the Trump rally. Great job, Steve, RSBN, and the mods. God bless you all. We will put your $12 toward going to the Trump rally. We will do that. And Quirkus Alba gave $25. That's very nice of you. We really appreciated that. That's what allows us to be on the air. So that's really cool of you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, let me read some more of your comments here. Redacted says, isn't Joy Reid a lesbian? No, well, she actually says in her apology, she says she's not a member of the LGBT community. She says she has friends in it, but she's not LGBT, which would mean she is not. Let me just make sure. I could swear that she said, yeah, as someone who's not a member of the LGBT community, so she is not. Nana says, has the gay community made a statement on this yet? And as far as that apology goes, it was just an excuse for bad behavior. Excellent question about whether the gay community has made a statement on this. Now, I don't want to say there's one organization called the gay community where they have a Twitter account, but I think what you're asking have like gay organizations made a statement about this? I don't know. That's a good question. Let me look that up. I would guess some gay organizations might have been, but I'm looking here. I would need to do a little research on this. It wouldn't surprise me if some have, but I don't have it off the top of my head, so I don't know. Stink News, I got your link. Thank you. I'll have to look more at that later, Stink News, that passage you sent me. Let's see. We have a message from... This is a message from... It's a reply to my tweet about this, but I want to read it anyway. This is from @RealFacelessMan, who says... Her comments were from forever ago. So they were from 2007, 2009. But Real Faceless Man says, her comments were from forever ago. I've always felt it's silly to give people S today for very old statements. People are allowed to change, but people constantly replaying Trump's grab him by the P tape get little sympathy from me. So it sounds like you don't think she should be punished, but you also think there are people on the right, well, you think President Trump is getting too much S for that tape. So it's almost like you're saying something like, well, if you're not going to criticize Joy Reid for these comments and really be outraged over it, then you shouldn't be so outraged over President Trump's videotape. Stephen KS says, who cares if Charlie Crist is gay? Well, I personally don't care, and I don't think anybody who's written in on this broadcast has said they care. So she apparently cared because she was writing all this blog posts about it. So she cared about it then, and I guess the reason she cared is because she thought what she thought were anti-gay policies were being hypocritical if he were gay. So that's why she cared. But certainly, I don't care, and RSBN doesn't care. James Min says, to clarify, my concern is the fact that the world seems to be ruining the lives of people that have done things that no longer make any difference in the real life today. If this keeps up soon, there will be no one that is not damaged somehow over something. And I understand, James, you're saying, that people have stuff in their past, and if every time somebody has something in their past that's somewhat negative, you're gonna, fire them, or you say ruin their life, that could be a lot of people. So I understand your concern. Now, we should also, I think it's important to distinguish between, there's different levels of accusations. Not everybody who's been accused of some kind of sexual misconduct has the accusations that Harvey Weinstein has. So, another thing is, I think there's can be levels of distinction made between certain types of conduct people have done in their past, and there definitely can be distinctions between worse and between bad and much worse on that scale. So I think it's another thing you might say is it's you want to take these accusations as individuals and don't label everyone who has some sort of sexual misconduct allegation as having done the same thing as Harvey Weinstein did, say. But thanks for writing in, James. JC, our moderator, gave $10. Thank you, JC. JC says, we thank and salute all of our patriots, vets, and first responders that have kept America land of the free and home of the brave. Please thank a vet every chance you get. A vet like JC. Thank you for your service, JC. Yes, at Right Side, we so appreciate all of the vets who really, make the ultimate sacrifice for their country. So thank you, JC, for reminding us of that. Oops, my mouth. I spilled water on myself. Sam Miller says, I wonder what Maddow had to say, if anything. Now, Rachel Maddow is gay, and you're saying, I don't know if she had anything to say about it. Let's see if I can look it up. Maddow on Joy Reid gay blog. Let's see. I did a Google search of Maddow on Joy Reid gay blog, and I got no hits. No hits. So I don't know if Rachel Maddow has commented on it, but I haven't. My very, very quick search didn't turn anything up. Now, I will say this. Like, that Mediate story that we looked at came out on Saturday. So this story is kind of like before that, I hadn't even seen like a big mainstream media. This isn't like big mainstream media, but I hadn't seen like sort of like a well-known website, a mainstream, like not right-wing website talk about it. So this was like the first kind of not, neutral website that people know talking about the story. And that was Saturday. So maybe Rachel Maddow might feel, and also remember Joy Reid came out with an apology for it on Sunday. So maybe Rachel Maddow will say something about it tomorrow. Greedy Ling made a $40 donation. That's really kind and generous of you, Greedy Ling. And Greedy Ling says, love the channel, just showing my support. Keep up the fantastic work. Thank you, Greedy Ling. That is so kind of you. Those donations are amazing, and that's what keeps us on the air, so thank you. Bobby Harvey says, she's a hypocrite and so are the networks she works for. What is the difference in their complaints of Trump's comments years ago? What's the difference in her male counterparts' remarks, apologies, and their punishments for years ago comments? Her apology lacks heart. Oh, and so you're saying her male counterpart, who are we talking about here? Mark Halperin? Or, I feel like you're referring to somebody else, not Mark Halperin. And I'm like drawing a blank. It sounds like you're referring to somebody else and I'm drawing a blank and I don't know who it is. Anyways, feel free to clarify, Bobby. But you think MSNBC is being hypocritical and not disciplining her or coming out with some comments criticizing her. Cutter Wayne Leaf says, if it was an old blog post by President Trump, the mainstream media would have worked itself into a firestorm. Pork Mohammed says, moving the goalpost, completely normal comments a few years ago are labeled hate today. Quite enjoying the fallout, but hopefully this ends in destroying the whole PC empire and people can get back to speaking honestly without fear. Okay, we're going to stay on a couple minutes longer here with this late night live stream, but if you have comments, get them in very soon. Last call for comments. Write to me at @Lookner on Twitter, @Lookner. You can also follow me on @Lookner if you like breaking news, because I post about breaking news all the time. Follow Right Side at @RSB Network. And if you want to know when we come on the air with these videos, as you can see, we come on at all hours with these videos. If you want to know, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notified when we're coming on the air. Hello also to everybody watching on Facebook tonight. Hi. I can't read the Facebook chat during the broadcast. Too much going on to do that. So if you want to reach me during the broadcast, message me on Twitter. That's the best place to reach me. And I forgot to check my emails. Let's see here. David Opt, it sounds like you have a question about the chat room. Oh no, it's about your comments. Hang on, David. It sounds like you're saying I missed your comments. I'm looking back, David. Now, one comment you sent me was a statement about Oprah's sexual orientation, David, but I'm a little uncomfortable saying that on the air because I have no evidence it's true. So that's the kind of thing where I don't, we don't want to like put something out there that might not be true. And then people say, hey, this person, Steve said on Right Side Broadcasting that this. So that was that comment. And I'm not saying you were doing that for a negative reason, David. You might have been sending it to me as a factual statement, but that's why that one wasn't read. But David, that's the only comment of yours I see here. So maybe other ones you sent, I'm happy to read your comments. Send them to me. I don't see other ones here. So I don't like to miss people's comments. So let me know, David, if you have another comment you want me to read. Let's see. Hillary Press writes in, and where is the feminist outrage that she used a female title as an insult? Hey, P-Cell made a donation. P-Cell gave $6. Said, good giving is contagious. Thanks, RSBN. Thank you, P-Cell. By the way, if any of you are in the Florida area and are coming to the rally on Friday, feel free to come up to us and say hello. We always love to meet our viewers when we're out at the rallies. Also, Jason, I really want to know if you're going to come to the rally and hold the RSBN sign. Let me know. Cutter Wayne Leaf says, this is definitely a textbook case example of why you should not post anything on the internet that you don't want coming back at you. Okay, I think we've gotten to all the comments. Very well. And I think at this point, we're going to wrap up the stream right now. So Very much appreciate all you guys watching and all the donations. Thank you for the donations. So kind of you. That's what keeps us on the air. So we're viewer supported. So we love when people donate, because we love bringing you the news, and that's what allows us to do that. So thanks again, everybody who donated. That's really nice of you. That's awesome. And if you want to donate to Right Side, if you're watching live, go to the bottom of the YouTube chat, click on the $ sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat. You can also go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Excuse me. You can also even get free Right Side gear like this Right Side mug by setting up a monthly donation at rsbn.tv/donate. Thanks to the moderators for staying up late. Hey, Jude joined us in the chat room. Jude, our moderator, our head moderator. She joined JC and Lynn Jean in the chat room. So thank you, late night moderators, for staying up in Common Sense and Glen O on the website. Thanks for everybody for writing in all of your comments. Much appreciated. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We love when you watch Right Side Broadcasting. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you like the video, we love when you like it on YouTube, when you hit like and you share it on Facebook. We're small. We can't afford to advertise. So when you like the video on YouTube and you share it on Facebook, that spreads the word and tells YouTube, hey, YouTube, tell other people about this video. So we love when you like and share our videos. So if you like them, do that. If you don't like them, then you don't do it. Don't do it. Grayson writes in, find it odd that if anyone from Fox did this, they'd be heavily reprimanded by the mainstream media, but in this case, just radio silence. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. It's late night. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for saying thanks in the chat room. P-Cell. Let's see. Who else is in there? Donna Marie. Ooh, Jason says that pretty sure the CNN suck sign will make it to the rally. Jason, we look forward to seeing you there. That's awesome. That'd be great. Let's see here. Keith Bloom, thanks for watching. Troop Number. Sunshine Girl, thank you. Some people are saying they're seeing Joy Reid's face on their screen, but I have the YouTube feed up on I'm watching it on YouTube out of the corner of my eye, and I have not seen Joy Reid's face take over the screen. Maybe try refreshing your browser. Thank you, Quirkus Alba. Thank you, PJ. Thank you to other people saying thanks. Annie, get your gun. Beverly Frazier, April Hudson, Ceralis, Troop Number, Rooster, Sea Cats. Oh, another reason you might be seeing Joy Reid on your, you might be seeing a big Joy Reid on your screen because if you're not watching live and you somehow skip back to the beginning. At the beginning of the broadcast, it was Joy Reid's face before the live stream came on. So make sure, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if this makes it. You probably can't hear me if that's happening. But if you see Joy Reid's face, you might want to see if you want to try to go live and go to the end of the stream. Anyways, that's it. Yeah, her face is in the corner. No, anyways, all right, forget about all that. I think the stream is working fine. Thank goodness. Knock on my wood desk. All right, I'm wrapping it up. Thanks everybody for joining us. If there's breaking news later or tomorrow, which I guess is today, we'll come on the air and cover it. But from now, I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon with more news at Right Side Broadcasting. Have a great night and a great day.